Hello everyone, this is Commando Doggo. Today I'm going to be testing out a new medium fighter on the STU server, the test server. In case you haven't been around in a long time, we've had a STU test server released months ago. It's getting updates. And on there we can warp ships, which is great. Reduces travel time a lot, and it's pretty much one of the essential features that were added, among other things like station building and things that still haven't been added yet. But yeah, we haven't been able to test a lot though, because there's a lot of laggy issues just with the multiplayer part. So until that is fixed, we won't really be able to test sieges or events, but Frozen Byte are working on it. Okay, so we're going to be testing this new laser fighter. It's got 16 lasers. It's quite beefy, it's quite well armored, and the reason for it is to replace my old small tanks. So why do I need a replacement for my old small tank fighters? Because one, some of them are just outdated, but two, they can't warp. So I used some dodgy building methods on my older tanks and they're not able to warp. Because warp is an essential feature, I really need my ships to be able to warp. So I've built a new turret from the ground up. I didn't use any dodgy building methods. It's still a robot arm turret, but I built it with good durability. I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, so essentially it works, it can warp. And it also has extra propellant to ship, because right now warp just uses a bit of propellant and that's it. Any ship can warp. Oh, and just a heads up, if anyone wants to design ships for the STU server, make sure you design them first on the live server and then transfer them over to the STU by autosave, because you can't bring your ships back to the live if you design them first in the STU server. So they're not backward compatible, but you can bring ships from the live server to the STU server. Okay, so the video is timestamped. You can skip ahead if you just want to see some fighting and see this thing in action. I'm going to go through a few details on the ship. So first off, we've got surround sacrificial armor. I made this quite beefy. I gave it a lot of armor on all sides because one major weakness with all my small fighters is that they get blown up quite quickly if they are ambushed by rail cannons. So I just wanted this to be more durable and be able to survive an ambush from a few small fighters at once. The ship overall is quite heavy. It's 5,500 tons, and the turret just by itself also weighs over 1,000 tons. The main goal of the ship was to try and increase stability, just durability over anything else. So rather than have a massive turret with 30 weapons that's unstable, I would rather have something that's more stable, has less weapons, and can stay in the fight longer without getting disabled. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the ship. In addition, I've also been experimenting with finer sensitivity control, so you can control 3 sensitivity options of the ship with just your right mouse click, nothing else needed. It's just to make it easy to control. So if I hold the right click, I get low sensitivity. If I tap right click, I get medium sensitivity. If I let go of right click, I get full sensitivity. So yeah, it's just trying to make things easy to control. And we've got buttons behind me that are non-essential, so I can just turn around and eject from the seat or change the power settings or whatever. So yeah, that's it. It's quite a min-maxed cockpit there. And yeah, as for the turrets, there's a weird issue with turrets. I've been battling with it pretty much for a long time now, since the last tournament, quite a long time ago, and that is turrets have a problem called collision resistance. So it doesn't matter how much armor a turret has or how fast it can move. As soon as it gets hit by several projectiles at once, so autocannons or lasers or just lots of projectiles at once, just the impact alone can cause the turret to spasm out of control and become unstable. It's only a problem if you're fighting against a big gunship with lots of weapons. So the only way to kind of fix this issue is just to split your turrets into multiple small turrets, so none of them can really receive that much fire at once. But I have been doing a little bit of experimenting. I've just made the plate connections that connect the turntables together. I've made them a little bit thicker, 36 centimeters width. I've made them out of targium. And I just built the turret a little bit differently from the ground up to try and increase that stability. So hopefully, even if it gets hit by lots of fire, the turret will stay smooth and stay in control. That's the hope behind that. And that's also the reason why I didn't want to make the turret too big and have too many weapons as well, because I think stability over firepower is more important with turrets. I'd rather have a consistent aim than have 30 weapons with a very janky, dodgy turret that loses control when hit by lots of projectiles. So that's the goal. We're going to give it a test. So I got a good few fights there on the STU, and I was quite satisfied with the results of my new turret. First off, it was quite smooth. It didn't seem to go out of control at all. I definitely think rebuilding it from the ground up with stronger connections between the turntables helped there. Unfortunately, a lot of my opponents were flying smaller fighters that were less than half the weight of my ship, and they didn't have too many weapons either, so I couldn't really fully stress test it to see how stable the turret was under fire. But so far so good. It was quite stable against a few small fighters at the very least, and that's good enough. Overall, I'm quite happy with this ship. I'm going to need some more practice on it, and I'm also looking forward to doing some sieges in the future as well. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching.